Ladies, gentlemen, welcome aboard the Joshticle, and today we shall have an in-depth look at magic in the Niflheim base trailer as well as the newest progress report. Without further ado, let the analysis begin. Before I play the footage, let's take a look at the outside text. In the bottom left corner, we see the date this footage was taken, the 25th of August last year. That was nearly half a year ago. Furthermore, at this point of time, developmental progress of Fire was at 70%. With that in mind, try to remember that this footage is subject to change. It even says graphics to be adjusted. By this time, you're probably wondering who is T. Ono. Let me introduce you to Teppei Ono, a visual effects programmer and editor of Square's second business division. He seems to have worked on episode The Sky and likewise is probably responsible of Fire reaching 100%. Okay, enough of that. Let's begin. The clip starts off with Noctis casting fire. But wait a minute, did you see that? Let's back it up. Take a look at these yellow-orangey curved lines. We see 3 of them, on Gladiolus, Prompto, and the area that fire will be casted upon, all of which are connected back to the player, Noctis. What are these things, and what purpose do they serve? I assume this is the game's way of showing the player which NPCs will be affected by their magic, allies and enemies alike. This is evident as the entire boy band gets caught in this magnificent fiery blast.
Burn, baby!
Prompto, oh Prompto. Anyway, if that hypothesis was indeed correct, why does Ignis not have his own marker line? I mean, we clearly see him sort of ignite as shown by these faint embers and black smoke. This is probably because the camera is too close. Here, let me show you. As Noctis is about to cast fire, we see the camera zooming in a bit while the markers simultaneously dissolve. Not to mention, Ignis is in a weird camera angle, so it would be difficult to mark him. Nevertheless, let's carry on with the footage. Behold, we have fire in all of its combustible glory. Unlike past games of the franchise, in 15, magic interacts with the environment. In this specific case, it's the grass. After the initial area of effect, we witness the flame spreading even further. Notice how the scorched earth slowly grows in proximity. Now, how far can it go? During the active time report, Tabata states that the shack will eventually go up in flames. With a multitude of possibilities such as that, it leaves a lot to the imagination. Can I also burn these trees in the background? What about that building in the distance? Who knows? As gamers, I think we can all agree this is plain awesome. This begs the question, do affected areas revert to their original form? Simply put, yes. But how? After some time passes, a quote-unquote strange force will somehow do just that. What in the world of Lucis is this force? Interestingly enough, Tabata says this. It feels like the power of the heavens purifies the land. Could this be a hint at divine intervention? I'll let you guys ponder on that. Now, as an avant-garde uncle once said, with great power comes great responsibility. Magic is essentially a double-edged sword. As I've previously shown, allies are no exception. Likewise, Noctis is not a special snowflake. As shown here, he is also a victim of his own incantations. Before we move on to the Niflheim base footage on magic, I want to point out one last thing. What's up with these flames that seem to engulf Ignis and Noctis? The two appear to be perfectly fine. This could merely be a visual cue warning the player to not get too close. However, that does sound like a stretch, as this could simply be a random visual effect with a coincidental position. What do you guys think? Leave your ideas down in the comments. And that concludes the progress report's in-game magic footage. Now's the perfect time to infiltrate the Niflheim base. Look at that! A new user interface, which means this is a more recent build. There's a lot of neat things here to indulge in, but all we really need to look at is the bottom left corner. This part of the UI shows the player which weapon of the 4 in stock is currently active. Using the D-pad, a player is able to switch weapons on the fly. The icon on the left is obviously the fire spell, which is activated by hitting left on the D-pad. Notice how it isn't active at the moment? That's about to change. It is at this very moment Noctis switches from his sword to the fire spell. We even see his inactive weapon swirling around him right before the switch is complete. Before we break this down, let's take some time to appreciate how awesome fire looks. Alright, back to the task at hand. What is most interesting here is that unlike the progress report where Noctis seems to conjure up fire out of nothingness, here, he pulls out some sort of fiery ball from his back pocket which is then consumed to produce the blazing inferno seen previously. In case you didn't know, in 15, magic is treated like an item. In the case of fire, in elemental magic, the player must gather natural energy from various locations in the overworld, which will then be used to form magic. The ball you see in Noctis' hand is just that. While Noctis is casting fire, we see something very familiar. Hey! That's the same yellow-orangey curved lines we saw in the progress report. Remember how I thought its purpose was to show the player which NPCs would be affected by their magic? Yeah, that is now debunked. It is apparent that the purpose of those spherical lines is to simply show the proximity of the spell being casted. Nothing more, nothing less. For fun, I went back to the progress report and realized that the positions of Gladiolus and Prompto were merely coincidental. Instead of cutting that erroneous segment out of the video, I decided to leave it in to emphasize that analysis shouldn't be taken as 100% fact. Also, I'm lazy, so that's part of it. My apologies. But I digress. Back to the analysis. Due to the nature of magic being treated as an item, it is no surprise that magic points are not consumed. To prove my point, keep your eyes on the MP bar in the bottom right corner as Noctis casts fire. The MP bar didn't even decrease. In fact, we actually see it increase during this period of time. Let's move on to the actual area that fire is being casted upon. Two unlucky Imperial Riflemen get caught in the initial blast, both losing 650 health points respectively, as noted by the blue text. But that is nothing compared to the Magitech arm on the right, who loses nearly 6300 HP, bringing the grand total amount of damage to a whopping 7600 HP. Oddly enough, Gladio and Prompto come out of the blaze unscathed, though Prompto did take a couple hits from the enemies as indicated by the red text. Check this out. While Prompto reluctantly bolts out of the Inferno, Gladio just casually walks out of the fire like a total badass. Hashtag savage boys! How can a mere fire spell invoke such a monstrous Inferno? Remember that Magitech armor that got absolutely wrecked alongside the Rifleman? Earlier in the trailer, Noctis scored a deadly warp strike on the Magitech's hydraulic damper. Notice the word break when Noctis makes contact, therefore causing oil to leak all over the place, leading to the gargantuan firestorm that engulfs much of the Niflheim base. As the analysis comes to an end, there is one little thing I would like to show you. Of the three elemental spells, Fire, Blizzard, and Thunder, only Fire has been shown. In another part of the trailer, we see the Magitech armor using an electrical attack on the party. It's not magic, however we can use this attack alongside Ramuh's Judgment Bolt to sort of get an idea of how Thunder could possibly look. In the case of Blizzard, besides the freezing train scene in the past trailer, there isn't really anything we can use to sort of visualize what it could look like. Although this isn't a big problem because Blizzard is likely to be the next spell shown off. Mission complete! That's all I could find in the analysis. What do you guys think? Did I miss anything? I want to see some discussions down in the comments below. Thank you for your time, and if you enjoyed what I did, feel free to obliterate that like button with some magic of your own. If you enjoyed the video, consider boarding the Joshticle by subscribing. I'm OhhhMyJosh, thanks for watching, and take it easy.
Feel the power of my magic!